Oh, man.
Hey, old man on the mat. This is Tony Jones coming at you with another great episode of Old Man on the Mat. Guys, I'm fired up. Yes. I'm always fired up. Yes, I say it on all my intros. I'm fired up. But guys, life is great. Life is rough. I said the hard part of life is being this sexy. I have a challenge. That's my challenge, my daily challenge, guys. But I'm fired about life, guys. Once again, thank you guys for all your support. I know I say it at the beginning of all my episodes, but I really, really mean that. We're out there on every platform that you get your podcast, and I see the numbers climbing. I get the great feedback from everybody. Once again, guys, thanks for everything. Once again, thanks for the merch flying off the shelves. We're at oldmanonthemat.com, oldmanonthemat.com. But, guys, I am fired up for our guest today. And I tell you what, as we're going through this, we have a very similar background or goal. Let's go with goal. How about that? You know, he's a Filipino martial artist. This guy's he's doing a lot of good stuff out there. He has a great page called Old Man Still Can. I love that. So you get a chance, look him out there on Instagram, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff. But, guys, let me get you guys on here with Robert Koenig. Did I say that right? Did I mess it up, man?
Perfect. No. Everybody has problems with it. It's a German name. Even where it's interesting. So even sorry. So like I said, it's a German name. I grew up in a town, and even though we weren't related, there was another Koenig in that town, and they pronounced it Koenig. But, you know, and I asked my grandfather, right? So he was super adamant. So I know there's the German way of saying it and everything, but, you know, out of respect to my grandpa, we pronounce it Koenig, right? Because I asked him, it was hilarious. I'm like, Grandpa, how do we pronounce this? You know, do we say it this way or this way? And he's like, it's Koenig, damn it. So it's like, all right, that's the way it is. All right. That's the way it is.
You got to do it that way.
That's right. Yep. So out of respect, I know some people say, oh, it's German, and they say it the German way, which is dope. But, you know, out of respect to my grandpa, you know, that's the fun part. You know, I might be going off track, but of doing your genealogy, you know, they came straight from Germany, just like St. Louis area. And they only spoke German. So there's a lot I just don't know. You know, and, you know, that's part of the being young, too. I didn't really talk to my grandpa a lot, you know. Yeah. He kind of seemed grumpy, but that was just, his face. That's his resting grumpy face. I wish I spent so much time with him because he there was, you know, he gave us the first computer. Wow. Remember when the microwaves came out? He bought, you know.
Oh,
he bought us the first microwave. He only had 2 boys. And so whatever he got for one, he got for the other.
That's cool, man.
So, you know, we had the first microwave, the Commodore 64.
Oh, wow. That's old.
I just learned from him. Yeah. Even though I learned from example, right? And I didn't talk to him, but he always kept everything fair. And that's just the way I've been you know, that's just kind of how I am, right? I treat everybody fair and, you know.
That's cool, man. Did he have any stories from over there in Germany at all, or anything?
He grew up in St. Louis area, you know. Oh, okay. Now we're and
St. Louis, wait, that's close to Germany, isn't it?
I don't know. Man. I wish we knew the whole story, because you know all I heard was that they migrated over there. I don't know why. You know, maybe it knows for I don't know nefarious reasons. I don't know. But my uncles went and served in World War II, and you know, they only spoke German. My grandfather never really shared anything. And that's a weird thing, too. My dad never really talked about his time in the military.
Oh, really?
Talk about that. Like, he was a Vietnam vet. He never talked about anything.
Wow. That's why I heard a lot of those guys from back then didn't talk about that stuff. They just didn't want to talk. It was so rough about that, you know?
Yeah, he was in the Navy, so I don't know. I know he went to different places, you know. Like growing up, he would have different things like around the house. So I knew like he was there. Like he went to Japan and did some other things. Philippines. There was those kind of hints, but all his books and you know like mementos and stuff, it was just put away. He never brought them out or he never brought up any stories. You know, back in my day, Vietnam. You know, he never said anything like that. So.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. But I learned about him after. So you know, after you find the documents, you know, after he passed away, and just like, wow,
you see all the stuff.
I didn't know you do this. You know, it's like, wow.
Well, some people didn't want to talk about it. You know, my ex-father-in-law, or grandfather-in-law, I should say. He was a quiet man, just quiet, quiet, quiet. No one would. He'd sit in the back of the house and just he wouldn't talk to anybody. You know, at time to come to eat, he would come to a table and eat because he was was it a World War II pilot? He was shot down. He was in the concentration camps and all that
Wow.
stuff. And my ex at the time, she would tell me, he doesn't talk to anybody, you know. So, and I'm a talker, so it took me a while to get to warm up, or he get to warm up to me because I'd go back there and sit with him and just watch whatever he was watching, where the family's doing other stuff, and then over time he'd start talking to me, telling me little things and stuff, and it was just amazing to get to know him. He didn't get in depth in a lot of stuff, but he'd tell me a lot of times about, he went down the street to the bar, and that's what him and his World War II buddies would get together and just drink at that little bar, and he'd say that no one talked about, no one spoke, they just knew they've gone through some things, and it was amazing. It was unique, man. It was very unique, man. But let's jump around. I don't want to jump around. Oh, I do like to jump around, man. I love just talk on these things, man, because I think there's so many different things, people, so many different interests out there, especially with your page. Old Man Still Can. Why'd you come up with that?
There's a I don't know. Yeah, there's a little story. I didn't necessarily come up with it. So, I mean, this is kind of part of my FMA journey. Or the Filipino Martial Arts journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me back up. So all right. I'm trying to put the thoughts in order to, you know what I mean?
That's okay, man. Bounce around, brother.
So, right. So, I mean, how did I get involved in martial arts? Just like everybody around else our age, we watched Bruce Lee, right? On
That's
cable,
right, man.
on cable. And then, it's like, man, I want to do that. But, I was in so I grew up in like Belleville, Illinois. It's like Southern Illinois. And that's that's kind of an interesting place.
I know where that is, man.
Yeah. See, that was so. My mom was Samoan, and my dad wasn't. She met my dad in Pearl Harbor. I'm not sure how they met. So my group, basically, my mom grew up in the church, and my dad. I don't. I learned some interesting stories when at his funeral. Like I don't know, man. There's just. Basically, they didn't get along in the Catholic schools, and I think that led to him dropping out and joining the military.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then my uncle, man, it's like, bro, was like, told me these crazy stories. Not necessarily about my dad, but he's like telling me, like different things were different back then, and I don't know, I said something to this nun. She punched me in the back of the head, and we got in a fist fight, and then I got kicked out of school. Yeah, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is crazy. It's just like, looking around. It's like, is this for real? And my uncle, is like, yeah. I guess times are just very different back then. And
punching none in the back of the head. Well, yeah, that'll do it.
She punched him.
Oh, she punched him.
Yeah, and that
he's going straight to hell for that one,
fight or something. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, and so I mean that just led to him dropping out and doing their own thing. And they both were, successful in different areas, but where were we getting at? So yeah, I mean, started
martial arts,
and and I mean, so I didn't actually start training until I was like 21 because, I don't know, there was, like I said, I grew up in a small town. There was like karate and some other stuff, but we didn't really have the money, and and then I was also got into music, so I learned how to play bass by listening to punk rock records, right? Because that was the simplest bass you could follow to some of the songs.
Yeah.
And then I end up just playing like with a band or two. And, that was pretty much, what I did toward my latter years of high school. And so I didn't start training until I moved out to Washington. And that was like totally by luck.
Really?
Because, so let me see. So I went from Belleville to like Washington and, I had long hair. Well, so I left. I left Belleville. Right? If you've been there, right, it's really small.
Oh
right?
yeah,
There's not really much to do.
Small.
And I'm looking around, and I'm kind of going to go back to something. It was kind of weird. So I'm half Samoan, I'm half German, so I'm lighter skinned. And I honestly didn't understand or feel. I didn't know any animosity between the two, between the white people and the black people until I got to high school because I didn't. I'm growing up around my parents. My mom's brown, my dad's white, and my grandpa's cool. Everybody, you know what I mean? Go to school, everybody's cool. And then in high school, that's I guess the older kids is like that. All of a sudden, that's where I learned like there was a division between
Yeah.
things, and it's like, whoa, this is a trip. I didn't even
Yeah.
know this existed. Why are these people like that? And then just because I hung around these other kids, it's like, well, it was automatic branding, so it's like I was just
Yeah.
glad to escape. I
You
geared
get
toward, move towards the punk rock and, play with bands. But I had, different races, Korean, Black, Mexican. We had our own little thing.
yeah.
And, just going to punk rock shows because everybody just got along. And that's just the way Illinois was, or at least at
Yeah.
that time. I think they're a lot better. But,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I just said, I didn't know what I was going to do. And it's like, well, I can't imagine myself playing punk rock. So as much as I love it, I got to go do something else because I don't know what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
what
Oh
am I
yeah.
going to do in this lifestyle? And I don't want to
Yeah.
work at a railroad. But, now looking back at it, it's like, whoa, look at all those benefits. Maybe I
Yeah.
should have
Right.
stayed back there.
Exactly. They had a lot of good benefits,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. But nobody explained that stuff to me. It's like, okay,
Nope.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go do my, you learn the hard way. And then we just
Yeah.
pass those lessons on to our kids so that they
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to go through those trials and tribulations. But
Yeah.
they still will. But
a
yeah,
little trouble, a little trials never hurt anyone, right?
yeah, no, that's how we grow stronger, right? I mean,
That's right,
yeah.
brother. That's right, man.
And yeah, the long story up short is, I moved to Washington. I was in the country part, and I went up to Tacoma, and I was working. My brother's a psychologist, and
Oh, okay.
so well, he works with this other organization called Catholic Community Services, and their whole goal was to keep families together.
Yeah.
And these were kids who were families with kids who were high risk. You know what I mean? They
Okay.
were, they got in trouble and stuff like that. And the goal was to keep them together, not separate, not put one
Yeah.
in juvie if they could help it.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes laws get broken. That's just the way it is. But the whole goal was to build a team around the family, support
Yeah.
the family, and keep the family together. And the long story short is I started working with these kids who had Fragile X and stuff. And then one day I was out doing stuff and I drove by a gym and I was like, wow, that looks pretty cool. And I'm thinking, I was like 21 when I moved out there. And I was like, man, I've always been wanting to train.
Yeah.
And then finally, I just stopped in there and, I didn't even know it was a Filipino martial arts. Oh, so let me back up. I started investigating a little bit. I had some friends, they did Aikido and
Yeah.
karate. And I went to go check out their school. And, I'm not going to say anything bad about the art. It's all dope arts.
Yeah.
But the school, they wouldn't let me watch because I was a brand new guy and it was like supposedly some kind of advanced night and stuff. I'm like,
And they wouldn't let you watch
Yeah,
the secrets.
And so I'm like, oh, cool. I thought it was weird, but I thought, oh, it's martial arts, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You didn't know better. You didn't know anything.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, oh, whatever. And then, so that's what, I found this other school and I was like, oh, cool. When's free hours? And, I went in, I showed up and then, yeah, I didn't even know. I saw kickboxing. I don't know if Datu was even advertising the Filipino martial. I just went in there. It was a cool environment, and then I stuck around.
Okay.
And that later on was like, oh, that's Datu Worden of Modern Arnis. He's the first American
Yeah.
to be with that title. And it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't realize the gravity of things until much later, and it's like, okay, this is a cool art.
Yeah.
Everybody here is cool. I'm gonna stay here and train. And then
Okay.
he would bring in like other people from other systems, and you learn and train, and you build friendship.
Yeah.
It,
That's one thing about the martial arts community, man. Everybody, it's about friendships, man. It really is about relationships, I should say. That's what I love about it. You can go anywhere, and if someone hears you're a martial artist, man, you can talk for days with someone. I love that.
Yeah. And one thing, the past years have got me wondering. Just going back to old school, my feeling now is that everybody should do some training now. Everybody seems a little bit too sensitive, or they get offended a little too much.
Somebody needs to be punched in the mouth a lot. That's what happens.
Well,
that
you know
fixes
what?
a lot
And
of things.
if you once you get in sparring, and if you also find it's like, oh, that's not too bad. I can take getting punched in the mouth. I can, and I can punch other people, and they won't get. You know what I mean? It's a
I know
reciprocal
exactly
kind of feeling.
what you mean. Oh yeah.
You discover how tough you are, and then it's like, oh, that was an insult. Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
walking
just
about your
things.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I discovered I'm tough physically and mentally. I
Yeah.
don't have to get that offended. I mean, that's how I
Exactly.
feel. It's like, things slide off and it's like, whatever.
Yeah, because I think I know we're gonna say like we're old back in my day, but
Yeah.
back in our days, man, no one got offended. We fought all the time, and then guess what? We're best friends
Hmm.
later,
Yeah.
and we can take some razzing, and I think that's especially for men. I think for young boys and men, that's a part of that passage.
Yeah.
Of being, feel like the odd man out or getting teased, and then you're still hanging with the same guys that are teasing you, become friends, and you realize that teasing's not the end of the world, and it
Yeah.
gives you that thick skin.
Hmm.
And I think we're missing a lot of that today, man, with these kids. You look at them wrong, they break down and crying. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. It's
Ay,
kind
ay,
of
ay.
weird. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on with them. I know. So let me back a little bit. We got two kids on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Um, one's a little bit more higher functioning. They're both high functioning,
Mhm.
but we put them through sports, and we
Yeah.
said, you know what? It's okay if you quit, but you're going to do this a whole year, and then you'll
Yes.
see up. If you don't want to quit. I mean, if you want to quit, just finish out the year, but you're going to do something else next year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
stuck
You
with
got to
it.
keep doing something.
My oldest, he stuck with it. He wrestled.
Oh, man. Good
He ran
stuff.
track and he did cross country. He wasn't necessarily
Wow.
the best, but he opted and he showed up every day.
There you go. That's all it takes, though. That's it. Showing up.
Yeah.
Showing up, man. How old are
And
your boys
so,
now?
the oldest is 22 and my youngest is just turned 17.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Young kids
Yeah,
still.
time flies. It's
Yeah.
crazy. For the longest time, I couldn't get over that he wasn't 10. It was like,
Yeah.
and he was like 14 or 15 by that time. I'm like, how old are you? 10? Like, Dad, I'm 14. He's like, oh, man, I can't believe it.
What happened? I've been working too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, man. I got two girls, and man, but they're older. They're not 30 yet, but they're getting close. But man, when they're your little babies, and they grow up so fast, man.
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean, it
man.
seems, that certain stages seem like forever, right? Because
Yeah,
if you feel like you got so much going on, and
yeah,
it's new stress,
yeah.
but right, you're not
Understatement.
used to that crying. You're not, and so and then you're not getting much sleep, and it just things drag on. But you know what? All of a sudden they're in kindergarten, and then all of a sudden they're
Yeah,
in fifth grade, then it's high
yeah.
school, and then it's
Yes,
graduation, and then
yes.
you're like,
Oh,
where did that time go?
where'd that time go, man? It's insane, man. I was cleaning some stuff out of the garage the other day, and I'm looking through some boxes, and I'm looking at, man, all these little pictures of my girls, and I had a moment sitting there looking at them and going through them, and texting them, look at this picture, look at this one. That's why I sent them like 30
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah. I still do that. Yeah, yeah. That's what's the fun
Yeah,
thing about Facebook, right? It comes up with these memories. I'm like, oh man, I
yeah.
forgot that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, man. But that's awesome, though, man. That's awesome, man. Now, you doing a Filipino martial arts? Is that the only art you did, or did you dabble in other things too
That
to
was the
round
great
you out?
thing about Datu Worden. I got exposed to so many other things,
Yeah.
kind of JKD related, right? But other people that did other arts too, right? Like I said, there was like Dr. Brett. He was a naturopath, but he played rugby and he did sambo. So
Oh
he was
wow.
like the first, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but I know he was probably one of the first people to like start a sambo school in like the Portland area in the 90s. Right when the
Oof.
UFC, you know, you're right, we
Was
had
branching out, coming out there.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody was into the grappling and stuff. He was like of course we didn't have the internet, so I can't, we wasn't able to search. I know
Right.
he did sambo, and that was a cool art. And have
Yeah.
you ever looked into that? That's
Oh yeah.
almost like a version of JKD itself, right? They had their
It
own,
really is.
yeah,
Yeah.
they had their
Yeah.
own striking. I mean, modeled off of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
And then their grappling, judo, and
It's like a mixed martial arts
jiu-jitsu.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically, yeah, just like JKD,
Absolutely.
except it's their own philosophy behind the art.
Yeah.
And
But
then
the world's so full of so many different arts, and it's just because I started when I was 8 years old and going into all these different arts, and
that's awesome.
man, it's a world of martial arts though out there. I don't
Yeah.
believe there's one better than the other one. It's always the person who's doing the art. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
practitioner. But man, I've talked to so many guys over the years, and there's so many different arts, and it's just like wow, sambo, all that stuff, sabat, and
Oh
crazy
yeah.
stuff, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
wow.
Just a lot of fun stuff. And
Oh yeah.
it all just kind of blend. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
not bound to structure or anything, then uh, everything can fit together.
Oh yeah.
That's what's been the amazing thing. I think because of the internet, everybody's kind of doing these little videos. Like I love seeing the ones where they show like the old school karate guys doing their form, and then they'll show like a move being executed in
How they
MMA or
execute
other
it.
stuff. Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
wow, that's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
cool. And then
It,
I didn't. That was the thing. I didn't get to necessarily train a formal art. I
mhm.
wouldn't say everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah.
We did, like Modern Arnis, there was forms and stuff. Datu has I think a Ishinru
Oh yeah.
and other
Very
style
well.
back. But he made me appreciate he never talked down about the arts. He would always build this is the relationship of stuff between things. It's movement. Everybody moves differently. But there's so many movements that are similar. Everybody, it's just a philosophy, right? And Salat,
Yeah.
they might go to the ground, or they might do things low because of the their environment. Maybe they're in the slippery place, so they stay lower to keep their balance, or their
Exactly.
footing and stuff. And then
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just so much, that
So much. And sometimes, like you said, sometimes they overlap,
yeah.
and I think sometimes, like, especially it was the Hapkido art, you see that a lot in that, where it overlaps by so many different things, but each, I won't say instructor, but what do you call them? The top dudes in there, they have, the masters, they have their own little twist on it. So it creates a whole different branch of Hapkido. And you see that in, all these different arts, Taekwondo, karate, you see all those different things. It's just phenomenal to me. It's amazing. Martial arts is amazing to me.
Yeah, and it was wild to watch, right? Because and it
Yeah.
kind of fits in with that whole form thing that Bruce Lee talks about, right? When you watch when the UFC first started, right?
Mhm.
There was like almost no structure, right? BJ came out and kind of dominated, right? Because they took people to a place where they didn't. Nobody
Normally
really
go.
trained,
Yeah.
right? Everybody
Yeah.
said, "Nah, we ain't going to the ground," but yeah,
Yep.
it happens.
Yeah.
And then kind of things got super structurized. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And then like I don't know when it was, but eventually, right? Everybody got used to that structure.
Yeah.
And then they started to break out of that structure.
Mhm.
And then you started seeing like the Taekwondo that right once they figured out the timing and everything built within that structure, it's like, okay, now let me do this super dope flying kick. And you know what I mean? It doesn't work all the time, but the fact that it did work some of the time is like, whoa, so that can work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Oh
like
yeah. You put it in a fighting arena.
Yeah.
Yes. Now it works.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
But
okay, now I know how to, it fits off a jab or a straight punch or something. And then
yeah.
it's just amazing, just the whole blending thing.
Because it all evolves, like you were saying a few seconds ago, when BJJ came on the scene and just mopped the floor with everybody, in essence, they always had challenges with wrestlers during the beginning, but because wrestlers lived on the ground kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they came and mopped the floor, but everyone, as the years went on, everyone started seeing what they were doing. They start learning some of that art, adapting it to their style.
Yeah.
So now, MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and doing the MMA fights is not dominating anymore. Now you got kickers and strikers and stuff still dominating because they can still fight on the ground. If you take them down, then they get up and do some more punching and stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, it's beautiful to watch. Even if you don't like the grappling that much, you got to respect it. One thing I really love watching is when they counter each other. You know what I mean? It's like boom, he's got the armbar. Whoa, he just
And
got
boom,
out of
got
that.
another one.
Yeah, yeah. Whoa, and then he just reversed it. Whoa, then he went into this. It's like whoa, now they're standing up, and whoa.
Oh yeah,
That-
like that. What did you watch that CGI tournament? That was a CJI. You see Craig Jones, the Invitational.
Oh, I missed some of that, but I heard I did get to tune into him and Gabrielle. So that was
in there,
his
yeah,
character, but
very big, man. It was great, man. The same thing though. Even when he was fighting with her, it was all these transitions. Even though they weren't trying to kill each other, but
yeah.
For those two. But if you got a chance to get some of those fights, man, it was just phenomenal to see those guys work and move. It's like, wow, the transitions and the moves and it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's amazing, and that's just what martial arts is. There, you go and you connect and just be open and learn and have a good time. I never really focused on trying to be a black belt. I'm just gonna go there, have a good time. If I get better, cool. I mean, I obviously want to get better, right? You get tired of getting beat up by the senior students
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff, and you don't want to let the new people come in and beat up,
That's right.
get beat up. So you just try to get better,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
the next thing is I was just awarded. I mean, I tested, but that wasn't my
yeah,
end goal. I just wanted to
yeah.
go in there because I always wanted to train martial arts, and then all of a sudden I'm doing something with sticks and knives, and it's like, whoa, this is cool. And being
Yeah,
introduced to different stuff, and
the screamer and all that. That's cool, man. Wow. Do you do weapons like guns and stuff? Are you into guns? I always ask
a
everybody
little
that
bit,
because I love guns. Yeah. Okay.
that's still one area I have to learn about, and I look
Yeah.
for. I have a friend who's really into that,
Hmm.
and well, I mean, just about everybody's like their knowledge is stepped up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I really want to get into.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a little bit, like maybe a handgun and stuff. I wouldn't say I'm proficient or familiar enough to like tell you all the parts of a gun and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's a hobby.
Yeah. It's a
There's
good
just
hobby,
so
man.
much stuff.
Yeah.
Bonding, just get out,
Yeah.
target practice, be familiar.
Yeah.
There's so many different areas,
Yeah.
right, to learn.
It is in self-defense or
Mhm.
and I don't want to sound like the guy, being a man, you have to do all these things, but anybody can do these things. But I just
Mhm.
said it. But as men, especially older men, these are all bonding things,
Yeah,
from in my mindset, for martial arts, that's still self-defense, and knives are self-defense, guns are self-defense, and you bond. You should be able to take care of yourself.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean, and your loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
that's that.
oh no, I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
You see, we kind of, I kind of went off track. That kind of goes
No.
back to the old man still can thing. So,
Yeah.
so right. So we're talking about, right, grew up in Illinois, moved to Washington, right, because I didn't
Yeah.
know what to do.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't want to do that, but
You don't want to stay there.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, when I go back, it's like, well, when we were thinking about, and before I get too much trapped, I that's one of the places I looked. So I took my family back there, and I'm like, oh no, things are still kind of weird. And
Yeah.
it's in a place where, for coming from Hawaii, you got beach and ocean and different
Yeah.
things to do, to a place in the Midwest that, what's the nearest lake was, I don't know, 2 hours away. It's
2
like,
hours away, and it's
yeah, and it's
cold
different.
all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. It's like, oh, I don't know. I'll go back to Washington where my sister and my brother is, and
Yeah.
and we got family.
There you go.
And that's crucial, right? And if
Oh,
you
yeah.
move somewhere, if you don't have support, if you're alone, by yourself, and you don't have support, it's a little bit easier. But if
Yeah.
you got a family and and a wife who's not too familiar with the area, there's so much different dynamics. It's like, I need the support, just in case
Yeah.
my wife doesn't like it.
Yep.
She's got my sister-in-law, or my sister and my sister-in-law
Yeah.
and my brother. But yeah. So
Yeah.
going back to the whole man,
I get it though, man. You're not wrong, man. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Now, do you
Yeah.
like to travel? You've done a lot of moving, but do you like to just get out and travel? You know what I mean?
I do. I want to, but there's things kind of holding me back in terms of
Yeah.
yeah. Basically, I do. Yeah, we do like to travel. We go to Canada,
Okay.
and I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
And there's a place we go to Seattle and Tacoma, visit friends and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Okay.
and hopefully when I retire, do a lot more traveling. My wife always watches these van life videos, and she loves those.
Oh
And
yeah, that's the new thing, man.
it's probably something we'll probably try to pursue. But I also got like side hobbies that I want to get into motion before.
Like what?
Well, so let's go back to the old man, right? So
Yeah.
I was going back. So I lived in Hawaii, and that's where I met Mike from DogZilla. Mike, not
Okay, yeah.
from DogZilla, but from the Dog Brothers. And
Yeah.
when I started out in '88, I kind of knew what the Dog Brothers were. I saw their videos, like, wow, that's pretty hardcore. Those guys are scrapping and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Hawaii. Cost of living is a little higher, and I find
Yeah.
out it's like, oh, it's Mike from the DogZilla. Not like I knew him. It's like, wow, there's
Yeah.
Dog Brothers out here, and the guy's teaching at the park for free. It's like, might as
Wow.
well take advantage of that. You know what I mean?
Right?
I
Oh
mean,
my goodness.
I just moved out there. There's a long story behind why I moved out there, but I was kind of starting over. Got out of a 10-year
Yeah.
relationship. It's like, man, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. My older brother's been wanting me to come out here, and so I finally moved out there.
Oh
And
wow.
then,
How long were you out there for?
about 12 years.
Oh man, that's gonna be nice, man.
Yeah, it was great, but and once I got married and had a family, it's like this is hard.
Yeah.
Um, my wife was working in Waikiki, and we lived in the middle of the island, central Oahu and Wahiawa, and it
Okay.
would just the traffic was so bad. She'd leave early in the morning, she'd get back home like 7, 8. So
Oh,
when you got kids, right?
yeah.
I had a different schedule. I was a contractor for the Department of Defense, I
Yeah.
used the DoD because as an easy example, because I was actually contracted for like Army, Navy. That's just the life as a contractor. You kind of have to jump around. But the long story short
Okay.
is that my schedule worked in such a way where I got to spend more times because I worked those weird shifts of like 4/12s on and 3 days off, or
Yeah.
alternating
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
And then she worked a standard like 9 to 5, but driving to work, doing the work, and then driving back home. The commute took a long time,
Oh,
and
it'd be
it came to
murder.
the point. It's like, man, she doesn't get to see the kid. She doesn't get to relax.
Yeah.
Well, let me see what's available on the mainland.
Yeah.
And I found a job at a hospital, and then, long story short, I interviewed and we moved in like within like a month. We
Oh,
were
wow.
fortunate, right? I mean, we didn't have we lived with our mother-in-law. There were so many benefits of just
Yeah.
being in Hawaii. The kids got to, you know, connect with the grandparents in way more than I did. So that was a
Yeah.
benefit of having her watch them. But it's like I said, it was kind of expensive, and I wanted her to be able to be around the kids more, and so
Yeah.
I was able to do that. But anyway, getting off track.
No, it's never off
It's a
track, man.
life
I always
journey.
say
Yeah,
that's what our lives
yeah,
bounce
yeah,
around, man. That's how
yeah.
lives go, man.
Um, so yeah, so back to the old man. I'm not saying it's not anything I created. So,
Yeah.
but let me get back to so I started training with DogZilla, right? The Dog Brothers, went to a couple gatherings, made some good friends, right? And that
Yeah.
goes back to the hard sparring and stuff. And then I had a really close friend. We'll get back to he passed away. I mean, we'll
Oh,
get to
wow.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't want to get into like conspiracy theories, but sometimes stuff just makes me wonder.
You know what? I got my tinfoil hat on all the time, so I would love to get into it, man.
Well, yeah, I just don't know. I don't want to like go too down, but some things make me wonder. So,
Yeah.
just like hard sparring, right? In martial arts, you're right. You punch your friends, and it's like you learn. You're like, hey, you find that common ground, you become good friends, and we always
Yeah.
talked about training. And and Dog Brothers, man, Mark Denny always has these great sayings, right? Like walk as a warrior for all your days. The
Okay. I
whole
like
thing
that.
about Dog Brothers, higher consciousness, the harder contract, the greater the dichotomy, the profounder the transformation, right? Just
Yeah.
basically putting yourself in these stressful situations, you know, and you
Yeah.
finding out how tough you are. And it's like
Okay.
you find out how resilient you are. It's like, oh man, like I said, these insults. I just got punched and kicked in the face and laughed it off. Not necessarily laughed it off, but you lived through it.
You
And so,
lived through it.
what is
Yeah.
an insult? It's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Doesn't
And
hurt you.
so,
Move on.
yeah,
Yep.
so he had this great saying, walk as a warrior for all your days. And it's basically, the deeper meaning is, we don't walk around trying to be, we're not always looking at a fight, but we're always capable, right?
Right.
We're always,
Right.
no matter at what age, we're trying to stay in shape, maintain the mindset. We understand our limitations, but we also adapt to it.
Right.
And so, that stuff really resonates. And I was talking to my friend. It's like, man, we should come up with our own motto just for us. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just for us. And then,
Yeah.
we threw around all these other stuff. And then one day he just said, we should use old man still can. And there's a saying in Hawaiian that's like, let me make sure I say it correctly. Sometimes I get the words mixed up. It's
Yeah.
like, momakule, momapule. It's basically the same thing about being old and I think doing crazy stuff. But there's also the deeper meaning where old man still can is, like we kind of talked about. As we grow older, and we witness things, we see people
Yeah.
kind of give up. It's like, some people may have not wanted to, they might have limited to themselves. So I think some people, it's like, oh, I don't want to train at
Yeah.
start martial arts right now. I'll never be that great. What's the point of being this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
I'm 30. Why do I want to take martial? You know what I mean? There's all these
Yeah. Oh,
reasons
yeah.
that some people feel like they're too old to do something.
Yeah.
So we just kind of branched out. That it's basically about staying fit. Unless you don't have to bench 300 pounds and do all that, because eventually you learn that you don't want to be carrying around that mass when you're like 60, 70 years old, because that's a detriment to your body. Unless,
That's
well, I
right.
don't know. Everybody has their thoughts that maybe it isn't, but that could
Nah,
be
I
a
don't
lot of
think
weight.
it.
You know what I mean?
I think it is. I think it is,
Yeah.
man.
Well, yeah.
How do
I
you
mean,
feel now with that kind of weight on you? You know what I mean?
yeah,
When we're
yeah.
bigger now, we feel worse. And can you imagine
Uh-huh.
when we're 60?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
gee.
you might be all jacked, but there's also different things.
Yeah.
It's all about adjustment. Everybody's going to have their own journey.
You're right.
And, but the whole thing is to keep moving, keep learning, just
Yeah.
keep active.
Right.
And so I got, like, here's a great, and this even more. So what happened was, when my mom passed away, my dad, we would call him on the weekend and stuff. He would always sound like he was doing all right.
Yeah.
And so we all left Illinois, right? So my three oldest siblings, they were born in Tripler in Hawaii. So, they were different. They lived in Hawaii, and then when my dad went to California, right, he was in the Navy. So they were born in Hawaii, three siblings. Then my next sibling, next oldest, I guess, was born in Florida.
Yeah.
And then they went to California, and that's where I wouldn't say he finished out his career, but that was towards the end. And so, he was still in the Navy. They lived in Compton and all those areas that, I didn't even know he lived in that area until, and then, you remember when Public Enemy and,
Oh, yeah.
oh my gosh, NWA came out. You always heard about this stuff. And then,
Yeah.
Listening to my siblings like, oh yeah, I remember we lived in Imperial Beach and we lived over here. I'm like, what? You guys lived in Compton and around there? What?
He's like, where was I?
But yeah, and so it wasn't until Illinois that's where he retired. I was born in San Diego, and then he moved to Illinois to finish out the years. He was in reserves, and he finished out his last 5 or 10 years and, retired.
Yeah. Okay.
So where was I at? Yeah. So, I mean, different siblings, right? They didn't, my oldest brother didn't like that vibe in Illinois. Well, he's half brown, like we talked about. It was like the most Polynesian looking one.
Okay.
And there's just different vibes. So he went back to Hawaii. Long story, everybody left except for one of my second oldest brother, and he stayed back. And what I'm trying to get is that, mom passed away. We thought my dad was doing okay.
Yeah.
He would, talk on the phone. He'd get riled up with politics, so we knew to stay away from that. He was a Vietnam vet, right? So growing up, I knew a lot of cuss words before a lot of other kids. And, I just thought it was part. I didn't ever necessarily say it, but I was aware of a lot of other things.
But you knew him.
Yeah, that's right. And but the long story short, right? He after my mom passed away, he rapidly declined. And I get it, right? My mom passed away, so he basically stopped moving. Right? If you look at my profile, this is kind of how I came up with the saying about life is movement and stillness is death. You'll find them in other places, but my dad basically stopped moving. He rapidly declined.
Yeah.
He would go to the TV and to the kitchen. Long story short, right? My sister, my brother called us and said, Dad's not doing that great. The house is this and that, and my sister and I went to Illinois to help clean up, and there was this, let's say his frame of mind was just different.
Yeah.
Then we only talked to him on Sundays and stuff. Again, he didn't talk much, and he didn't like to be bothered.
He's that old guy.
We would tell him something, and I don't know if he was being funny or not, but sometimes his response would be, "Yeah, whoopee."
That's good. Yeah, whoopee.
Like,
I
okay.
love it. I love it.
So it's like, okay, Dad, all right. But we always didn't talk to him. But the long story short, he kind of gave up and stopped moving and stuff. And so when he was ready to go, he said, stop taking me to the hospital. Stop doing this.
Oh, really?
I'm ready to go. And that night, he passed. He
Really?
was ready to go. Yeah.
How old was he?
Man, I'm not good at that. I don't know. He wasn't.
He was.
Let's say he was in his 70s. My mom. This is kind of funny. My mom was much older, so she passed away when in her 80s, and so my dad passed away in his 70s. So I don't know if she was like a cougar back then or what. It was like,
That's right.
So I look at pictures. I was like, Dad, you look how old are you?
Right.
He's in his uniform and stuff, and it's like, wow.
Your mom got her a youngin.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. And then
Oh man.
so there's that side, right? And so that showed me that, right? He stopped moving,
Yeah.
Other people use
Yeah.
stillness as death, and that really helped me. That just showed me, it's like, yeah, you stop moving, you stop being active, you die in certain
Yeah.
ways. You stop you stop moving physically, mentally, right? You stop challenging yourself. You
Yeah.
mentally, things decline. And then on the flip side, right, I got my Filipino mother-in-law. She didn't work out and stuff, but she was active. She goes visit her family. She goes, she had a couple places that she rents out. She goes visits with tenants. She picks up the rent. They bring her
Yeah.
food. There's like this relationship that they got going on. But the main story is she's moving. She's engaging with people. She's doing
Yeah.
something, and that just really hit me. Hit it home. Was like the whole phrase. I mean, I was trying to put it as succinctly as it's almost copying two other people's phrases, but and I put these two together because that's the gist. That's about as
Yeah.
concise I can make it without being like really super long. Is that
Life is
keep
movement,
moving.
stillness is death.
Yeah,
That's true, man.
so I mean, I'm not trying to be grim or anything. That's just the
Well, no,
lesson I learned.
that's not being grim. But you think about this: the people when they retire, what's I forget what the stats were on that. When someone retires, it's like a year they
Mhm.
have left because they stopped doing something.
Yeah,
They stopped driving. They don't have that goal anymore. Have that push. They just sit around and fade away.
yeah, and that's why I think we're so lucky now.
Yeah.
I mean, I halfway tease my kid, but I'm kind of halfway serious. And I tell everybody he's probably tired of me saying this, but I joke with him. And I say, bro, I'll get you all these games and stuff that you want as long as you get me the latest console, and or the
That's
latest
good.
computer, because I
That's
still
good.
like that game. So it's like, I don't
He's like,
know.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the times we live in, man. We get,
Yeah.
the, the healthcare is much better. We live longer. We have more things,
Yeah.
and like, man, I'm not even sure where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to get is that's part of old men still can.
Yeah.
There's so much life to live out there right now, and the thing behind that is to, share with people. There's a lot to live for. Keep learning, keep moving,
Keep
learn a
learning,
new
keep moving.
instrument.
Absolutely.
Keep,
Absolutely.
keep just keep learning. Look at where we are with the technology, man.
Man, you can learn
Bro,
anything. You can go on
Skynet?
YouTube and learn everything that's on there. You can spend time
Yeah, remember
learning
the early
something
days?
new.
YouTube was kind of lame, and then
No,
all
it's
of a
very
sudden,
lame.
now you got all these martial arts videos. Everybody's
Yeah.
sharing
Yeah.
their little piece.
Oh yeah.
So much knowledge for free, and
Yeah.
man, did you ever think we would be AI in this stage of AI? Man, I thought
No, not at all, man. It's crazy, man. I'm
I
looking at it.
know.
I'm always trying to find things to invest in. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
that?
Right? And then there's so
Man.
much the opportunity for us to learn and get involved with to set up the kids,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I think education is as time goes on, I think we're gonna peel away from the classrooms, where kids have to go sit in these rooms to learn because they can have these laptops anywhere. They can
yeah.
learn, and kids learn because I homeschooled my kids.
Oh,
Well, we
nice.
did. We homeschooled our
Yeah.
kids until they went to high school and then stuff like that. It was great, and so it was a different way of them learning.
hmm
Just living life, experiencing, and everything else. And when they went to school, when we finally put them in school, got them tested and everything else, they like each one bumped up a grade and one bumped up 2 grades. I'm like,
That's
"Ooh,
awesome.
we were good teachers."
Yeah, I don't understand this weird stigma. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't look into that deep into it, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you see stuff on like Twitter or something, it's like, what are you talking about? Why are you making fun of the homeschool? I mean, there's so
I
much
know.
different opportunities that
Oh
these
yeah.
kids get to go through. It's like,
Yeah.
we could
Well,
be
because
anywhere.
the vision of homeschooling is, this is what we ran into back then, because friends would, after we didn't see them for a while, we'd go out to dinner. How are your kids doing? Are they getting out? That was the thing they were thinking because they think we got them locked in the basement in front of a
Right.
chalkboard yelling at them,
Uh-huh.
Eh, But our kids did more than most kids out there. They, at the time I owned an insurance agency, so they traveled with me out of
Oh,
state all the
man.
time. They saw so many things, and we stop and teach them things, and let them see the areas, and they learned a lot. Man, it was great, man. My kids,
Yeah.
and one thing we did too for our kids, and I don't want to get off on my life, but my kids when they were younger, what we did was we were out in the grocery store or something like that. We'd always have our kids instead of saying, go meet that kid. go and you got to tell
Oh,
me,
nice.
their name, and you got to tell me something they like. Because I wanted them to always have that extrovert personality where they can go talk to anybody, and hold a conversation. And they learn that from a young age. So if you saw my kids now, man, they can communicate when they were going to communicate with anybody. It was great, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We put our youngest. So let me see. We did a little bit of homeschooling in Hawaii, but my oldest son, he was he needed a little bit more closer attention than my wife could give him. But we put him in a regular school. I mean, we made sure, man, if there was ever any issue, we can make sure my wife was there to straighten him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not necessarily bully, but she was there to advocate for him 100% all the time. Yeah. And, we made sure he was taken care of, and he adapted well. With our youngest, is a little bit more driven. We put him, basically he's kind of homeschooled, but we also use online resources. There's so many cool resources now.
Oh,
and and he goes to this other school, but what I'm trying to get at, she put him in acting.
Okay.
Or in drama. I mean, it wasn't
drama.
They weren't used. They didn't. In high school drama they put plays. It was more of like an elective, so it wasn't his. He didn't do a play, but he did a play with his classmates.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when they did it
I
at
remember
lunchtime.
those days,
So, but I mean, when you look at things, it's like he did great at memorizing lines and doing everything, and he talked to people. And when I don't know if he believes me, but when I tell him, it's like, bro, you're doing way better than I ever did.
Yeah.
When I was little, I mean, because I was just, I was a quiet guy. There's just so much different things. I process things a little bit different. Once you work around autism, and we also volunteered in different groups.
Okay.
Because you want to get out. You start learning like the different things, and then you start seeing kids, and you hear about their struggles, and you start thinking about your life, and you start wondering, man, am I on the spectrum?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it is a wide spectrum. It's like, and then, but
wide.
And then, my wife actually got tested, and she actually is. But that's a different story. I mean, but she made it through college and everything. So, I mean, that it was different, right? She found her coping mechanism. She found her way that helps her make it through things.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And so, she graduated. She kind of gets a little bit mad because she went through college, got the degrees and everything, and then, I went through. I didn't, I wasn't book smart. I was, I'm kind of an easy person to get along with.
Yeah.
I show up to work. I do my job. I'm inquisitive about stuff. And then, people like working with me. And then, the interviews, like, I mean, if you're willing to learn too, people want to work with you. It's like,
absolutely.
And then as I got up further, when I moved to Washington, I was able to sit be part of interviews, when we were hiring people.
Yeah.
And then one of the things, you look at is like, am I going to get along with this person? Yeah, you're hella
Okay.
smart. You're super, you're super smart. You got skills and stuff, but how are you going to function on the team? Are you going to be like, I'm not trying to be cliquish, but, as a team, right? Everybody wants to get along and stuff. And then you kind of look at how they're fitting in the team. But that's a long story short, what I'm trying to get to.
But
right?
that's
Just teaching
good. These kids
how
need to know
adapt
that.
and work with people.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't necessarily have to be the A+ kid. If you can get along and be adaptable,
the world is yours.
Can go. Yeah, you can. There might be some limitations, but you'll get there. You'll have a job.
Yeah.
And in whatever you choose to do. That's what I'm trying to get to. But I mean, the homeschool and just putting them in different things. I think I would have freaked out if you put me in a class, acting class, having to get up in front of people. I'm just amazed at my kids; they just did it.
But that's really cool because that's a testament to you and your wife. You didn't teach them any fear. So
I tried not. That was interesting. I learned. So, like I said, my brother was a psychologist, and when I moved to Tacoma, and I was living with him, and then he had a younger daughter, and I remember him, and he was talking to his wife, and he said, "Hey, don't do that, because I don't want you to teach, stop screaming like that, or stop reacting to spiders that way. Yeah, well, I know you're scared, but now you're teaching her to be scared.
Yeah,
I don't want you to transfer us." And so that's where, it was kind of I don't know if an experiment, but when when my little guy was my youngest was out there running and he'd fall and like bump his knee, I would just look at him, not really give him a response just to see how he'd
Yeah,
react.
right.
And
Right.
then, I didn't want to baby him because if you make that, oh, then he's
And
going
they
to get
respond
up.
to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
so
Yep.
we just kind of let them develop their own thing. And the same thing
Yeah.
with food. It's like when we came to Washington, he had cousins that were like, would almost throw up at the thought of eating a vegetable. But because he grew
Wow.
up, well, everybody learns, right? Some
Yeah.
people are like, oh man, I don't like peas. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Then you try to tell your kid to eat peas, but they already learned from you.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. They don't like it because you don't like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so he ate all kinds of food around his Filipino grandmas, fish, whatever they ate. And then,
They
we
put
would
in
just,
front of them.
same thing. Here, just try it. I didn't say I didn't like it. If I didn't like
Yeah.
it, I would just tell just have them to try it. I didn't, try to pass on anything to them. And, they develop
Yeah.
their own taste.
Yeah.
So now he's
Yeah.
open to eat almost anything and stuff. So,
And that's good. That's really good. I bet he has a strong immune system too.
yeah, he does.
Oh yeah. Because think about this is a
Oh.
weird thing. I know we're bouncing all over the place, but this is awesome. When we were growing up, how many peanut allergies did we have in our classes? We didn't have any.
I
we
don't
have
recall
kids.
any. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't recall any, man.
We traded lunches with each other. We did,
Yeah.
Now it's like these kids got everything, man. You look at them wrong, they got some kind of allergy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's my 10-4 app coming on. See, I'm creeping it on right now as we're speaking.
Oh no, there's no. Yeah, I don't know. It's I'm just open minded. I said, yeah, that could be a possibility. I don't shoot
Yeah.
anything away. I mean,
Yeah.
if without I don't want to start going down different stuff, but I think we've been around enough and we've seen things happen. Things
Mhm.
get denied, and then now certain things are coming true.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
it's like, wow.
Yep.
All those
Yep.
people that told these guys are crazy, they said that wasn't true, and it's like now there's like evidence
Yep.
that it is true. It's like
Yep.
2020
with you.
really messed a lot of people up. It was just
You know
too
what?
much
You're right.
division.
Yeah. You're right. You're sure right. And I think, would I go down the rabbit hole of saying it was a test? Who
Mhm.
knows, man? It was a government test or whatever about division and control and getting people to turn on each other. I'm going to go that route because I've seen people turn
Mhm.
on each other that you would never think would do that.
Yeah,
And doing the mask craze and
I know. And
oh
people
my
were
gosh,
calling, like reporting on people. Kids at a park.
yeah,
It's like, bro, they don't got their mask on. I was like, okay, they're not near anybody.
right. People outside working out by themselves with the mask on and
Yeah.
getting on planes. I was one of those guys that never wore a mask. I didn't do any.
Mhm.
I'd go in stores and I never made a scene. I've been kicked out of stores. They've asked me to leave and okay, I'll shop somewhere else, But I never wore a mask. I wore one on a flight. I think I was going to Hawaii and
Oh, see, that one, yeah. So
yeah,
I did wear. So my wife has an compromise. I was so unsure, but I'm thinking about my wife. It's like, man, I don't know
Yeah.
about this, but I don't want to have a chance of passing on my wife. I wasn't necessarily. I don't know. Basically, I just
Yeah.
didn't want my wife to get sick, so I said, F
Oh
it.
yeah,
I'm
I
just
get
gonna
that.
get this, and the whole, and the
Yeah.
whole job thing. That's crazy.
That's
Some
crazy.
of my friends,
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were leaving.
Yeah.
Because of that whole jab thing. It's just like, oh, you got a job in Arizona, cool. Because I
Yeah.
knew they were always looking for different opportunities, so I didn't put it together. And then it's like, once they moved away, it's like, yeah, I moved because of this. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah. I knew several people that, quit their jobs or was asked to leave because they wouldn't take the shot,
That's
And
so
I get it.
crazy.
You do what you're going to do for you. I'm not telling anybody to do it or not to do it. I never would. I didn't do any of
Yeah.
that. Like I said, the only time I wore a mask was on a flight, and the flight attendant told me, as long as I'm eating something, I don't have to put my mask on. So I kept a
So you
French
chewing
fry in
gum?
my gum and a French fry in my mouth the whole time, and she just come by smiling. I still got that French fry.
I'm glad they're cool with you because sometimes,
Yeah.
they were, wow, borderline crazy. Everybody just went
It
over the
got
top.
crazy, man. I remember having a lady come in the store and just start screaming at me. I'm in line at Sam's Club returning something, and
Mhm.
she comes in line, and mind you, hey, I'm not judging anybody on their size, but you talk about health. She was not
Yeah.
the ideal vision of health,
Yeah.
and she's screaming at me, just, "Where's your mask?" And I kept looking at her, saying, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What'd you say?" That's all I kept saying
Oh,
to her
man.
over and over again, and she got so mad and went and got management, and they came over and they
Really?
said, "Sir, do you have a mask?" I said, "I don't." And they said, "Well, we had to ask you, so go and finish your shopping," or something she said. But she just didn't want to be there asking me about a mask. She just did it because
Right.
the lady was screaming. It was funny though. I was like, I just kept saying, "I'm sorry, what'd you say? I can't hear you."
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to, deal with it. I don't know what
That
I would
was
have done.
funny.
I probably would have just, I don't know. I'm just glad I
Well, it
didn't
goes
run
back to
into
what we
those
were talking
people.
about earlier.
It's just so
Words don't
weird.
hurt. Words don't hurt
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
People can say anything to me. People say, "What if they call you this or call you that?" I don't care. My philosophy: as long as you don't touch me, you can do whatever you want to do. Say what you want to say. I'm
Yeah.
going to move on about my day. You
Yep.
know.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
it was crazy times. You ain't wrong, brother. Let me pull this tinfoil hat off and put it back over here on the
Oh no, see,
side.
I mean that's where let's we don't necessarily have to dive back into it, but see that's where made my mission a little bit more stronger, right? Because me and my friend, right, we passed away. Like he was a federal fireman, and
Yeah,
they have their own requirements. We never talked about whether he got the shot or whatever. But let's
yeah,
say he passed away. He was right. There's requirements when you're a fireman, right? You got to keep in shape, right? That's just a
yep,
mandatory thing.
exactly.
And he was
Those
really
guys
in
are
good
fit.
shape,
Yep,
right? We would call him
yeah.
the machine, right? Because he was always like conditioning, right? He was heavily into martial arts. He was heavily into he's highly intelligent and always training, right? He got sick and stuff, right? As natural,
Mm.
but on his 49th birthday, days after he passed away he collapsed on the judo mat, and
What? Wow.
yeah, I knew. Well, I mean, he knew he had high cholesterol and stuff,
Yeah,
but he always, he managed his health, right? He got the blood work. He always,
yeah,
he was the one to always tell us, "Hey, brothers, do your physical, get your blood
yeah,
work, check on yourself, do this and that." And
yeah.
a couple days after his birthday, he collapsed on the mat, and we
Oh,
found out, finally. I'm not, it took a while. I'm not going to ask people, it takes, I asked his sister, like, what happened and
mm.
stuff, right? Because we knew he went to the hospital and stuff like that, and they tried to do stuff. And I think, I don't recall if he passed on the table, but
Oh,
basically it was clogged. His arteries were clogged. And it's like, what?
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I didn't really place any thought, but it's like, man, that's weird,
The more
right? Because
things
we hear
come
all
out, you
these
start
other
thinking
stories.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and
yeah.
are you aware of another guy? He just turned 55, passed away. Steve Cotter, like a
No.
kettlebell OG
Oh,
and
yes.
BJJ. He
Matter
was
of fact,
fit. He was a
yes.
fit dude. He just
Yeah,
passed
I know
away.
what you're talking about.
Stroke.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
I'm not necessarily putting that tin hat on about him, but it makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder
55.
all this stuff.
He's same age as me. 55. Maybe he did, maybe he
Wow.
didn't, but
Yeah.
it certainly
Wow.
makes you just wonder about things. I'm not gonna go 100% in on that or not. It's just
Yeah.
it's just things that make
But
you wonder.
well, when someone falls off like that, that's first thing, especially now after 20, you start thinking, after
Yeah.
2020, you're like, man, did they get the shot? And that's, for a while there, someone dies, they get the shot, that's first thing,
Uh huh.
because all the things that are coming out now about the shots. And I have friends who, like I said, who quit their jobs, refused to take it, had to leave other employment. I had people in the medical field who had to take the shot, and they're
Yeah.
they're freaking out now,
Uh huh.
because of all the stuff. And it was a crazy time, man. It was a
Yeah.
crazy time, and
Well,
it's crazy,
eventually, right?
man.
We'll be, I don't know, 70s or 80s, and there'll be some documentary, some kind
Yeah,
of,
right.
how it is. It's like 20,
Yep,
30 years later when the documentary comes out and the truth is
yep.
supposedly revealed, and it might be out there in front of us, but later on it'll be confirmed. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. I think it's been confirmed now, but
Yeah.
I look around like,
Yeah.
my gosh, man, this is crazy. All I say is pack a lot of bourbon and keep your ammo on hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 That's the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
used to be a prepper and all that kind of stuff too.
That's good
Uh,
stuff, though. I mean, you
oh
don't
yeah,
whether you're into it seriously.
yeah.
Everybody should be prepped,
I think
regardless
so.
of what happens.
Yeah, at least
Um,
90 days worth of food and water and things like that. I know
mhm.
they say a couple days because they're assuming that all the system's going to come back up after a couple days. But we looked at the long haul, and
Mhm.
it wasn't like we're just hoarding in the basement all this toilet paper. Wasn't any
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
That was crazy time too with the
That was
toilet paper.
that was so
Crazy.
weird. And that was one of the downsides of living on an island. So
Oh
when we
yeah,
were there a couple times, well, when we were there was a couple tsunami warnings, and
yeah,
at that time I was working for the Navy and Pearl Harbor. I was on Ford Island, and they let us go early because
yeah,
we had we had our shift on Hawaii, but we also worked at the same time as the guys in Norfolk. So when
Okay.
that stuff was going off, they said, "All right, you Hawaii guys go home because of what could possibly happen." And
Yeah.
it's an island, right? There's everything
Yeah.
has to be shipped there, and
Yeah.
people bought stuff and hoarded it. But basically, battery. It took a couple months for some things to be restocked up. At Walmart,
Really?
all the flashlights. Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
everything, but I remember
Yeah.
like toilet paper was an issue, bottled
Oh, yeah.
water, batteries. It took like a couple months on things to be restocked in different stores.
Wow. They were cleaning it out.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I mean
Especially
that
like you
just
said on
shows
the
you, right?
island. Oof.
Yeah, not everybody's prepared. What's
Yeah.
funny, right? Some people would buy water and like, oh, nothing happened, so they try to return the water and other stuff, and it's like,
Try to return water. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
bottled water and stuff.
Oh man, keep
Um,
the water.
yeah,
I always
exactly.
drink
Right? Did
bottled
you not
water
learn?
here. Right? Right? I drink water all the time just because the water in our faucets out here in Illinois are horrible out
Uh-huh.
here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. But I always drink out of bottled water, not because I'm get away from the contaminants. Just like the water is so horrible. I don't even like cooking in it,
Yeah.
But you
I
gotta
mean, so
prepare,
there's
man.
exactly. There's so many different reasons to
Yeah,
be self-sufficient. And depending, weather.
yeah,
I don't know, different parts. Midwest it used to get really snowy. Here it's not too bad, but
yeah,
there's a couple of times where we got kind of snowed in, and it's just you feel good. You're not necessarily worried. It's like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
are we good
yeah.
to go? Do we got enough food? Or
You don't
not
worry
like we're
about
gonna
it.
die in like 3 days, but you feel like,
Yeah,
yep, I got enough sandwich stuff here. My kids are
yep,
gonna eat. I'm comfortable. You know what I mean?
yep. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. You're comfortable. You can take care of you and yours, and not a worry in the world at that point.
Yeah.
When everything
Now,
else is
now we
falling
just sit
apart.
back and relax. You know what? And it's
Yeah,
also funny. Wives are weird creatures. Um,
they sure are.
well, my wife was like, when, like the whole at the beginning of the year, months ahead of time, she's like, I feel like we just got to be prepared this year.
Mm,
And I'm like, okay. So I kind of grew up in the Mormon church, so that was just part of
yeah,
life. My mom always had these things, the church, food storage and stuff. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
okay, cool. Yeah, I'm always down with that. We should always
yeah,
be prepared. And my mother-in-law, she was 60, 70 at that time. We should, be able to take care of family. And so,
yeah.
long story short, we were prepared. And so when the tsunami warning came and they were expecting things, I went to bed.
Did you really? That's
I
awesome.
crashed out. Yeah, I'm like, we were also in the middle of the island, so it's like we're
Yeah,
pretty far, and we got the stuff we need. So I'm just gonna chill. Everybody else
just
can
gonna
kind
chill.
of,
Nothing to worry about.
yeah, and we got a little bit extra. So the mother-in-law or her aunts and uncles need something. I know they got stuff, but we also got stuff, so we can help
Yeah,
each other.
help each other out, man. That community, man.
So I don't have to worry
Yeah,
about it. I'm just gonna go sleep, and it was just like another day.
yeah.
I'm glad nothing
But
happened, but
yeah,
yeah, it was
but you
just
were ready
another day.
anyway, though.
Yeah, yeah,
But the 20 showed us, like we're talking about community here just now. Your family, you're building community. Maybe your neighbor needed something.
yeah.
And we were raised that way in the neighborhoods. The
hmm
neighbors needed something, they come get it. We take some over there, whatever. But during the 2020, we saw all that go away.
hmm
It's like our neighbors, we weren't, and none of my neighbors were jerks, and nobody was mean, and nobody was,
Uh-huh.
doing anything. But I saw that. I got a sense that community wasn't around anymore because everybody was fending for themselves. And that's the scary part. You got your people in your own circle. You guys take care of each other, but it wasn't that community where I thought I could go next door if I needed something. They could
Yeah,
always come
yeah.
to me, but it was weird. It's just a weird feeling during that time. That's why that
It
10-4
is.
stayed on for so long.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I mean, oh man, I don't even know how to describe it. Just I'm just trying to think about just different things
Yeah,
and why are people like that and stuff. That's why I kind of enjoy watching those. I think that's another people enjoy watching those dramas like the zombie. What was that
Oh
movie?
yeah,
Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
Different
That was
things are
great.
playing out, and
Yeah.
it makes you wonder.
Oh yeah.
People,
What
I
would you
mean,
do
yeah,
in
that
that
was weird.
situation and all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff?
exactly. No, are you gonna be that guy? Or are you gonna be the guy that raid people? Or are you gonna
Right?
be the community
Right?
member?
Yeah.
Do you have people you can trust?
But that's the biggest thing when you talked about like these doing all the time. You got to prep. It's not just prepping food and supplies. You got to have a group of people you can count on.
Yeah.
That you can, if someone's raiding my place, quote unquote, you can come help me. Someone's raiding yours, I can come help you, and all that kind of stuff. But if everything's fold, how that's going to play out, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think COVID was a dry run to a certain point. It's like, how are people going to react? And everybody turned on each other.
Got to keep that in mind and make sure our kids, even though they're older, I mean, my kids are a little bit younger. I still got to make sure they keep that in mind. They stay prepared too. We still might be alive at 80, and when all that happens. So.
Oh yeah, my kids they're preppers, and they stay prepared, and to the most part, they can fight, they can shoot, they can train them well. Hopefully, train them well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so they can prepare, they can take care of themselves if worse comes to worse and dad's not around, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But man, it goes to, like we were saying, what you're saying. Old man still can. Old man still can take care of himself, right? He can still take care of other people, man. Now, do you do any fitness? Are you into weightlifting or anything like that?
Yeah. I sadly I've been slacking. I'm going to digress a little bit or go back because that's one thing. There were a good thing. You know what? It's that whole 2020 thing was interesting. A lot of new things came up, and like before, people had laughed at the idea of you can't teach martial arts online or blah blah blah.
Absolutely,
but once people found themselves isolated, they're like, sure, let's try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the whole thing of just like working from home before we were just kind of trying it out at work.
Yeah.
And now I'm at home full time, and they just find, I don't know, things just work out. I work in IT for like network. I'll just say like network security. We manage the firewalls at a hospital organization in Portland. And the long story short is that that's been one of the best things that where I can. It was a blessing, and it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because I enjoy my work. I enjoy the cybersecurity side of going through firewall logs just to make sure nothing wild's going on and looking through stuff. What I'm trying to get is that I kind of stopped being active. Yes, I do enjoy. I love the kettlebell. And that was the downside also, right? Because in Hawaii, I had my group of friends. We trained free at the park. We trained, and then we would just spar, and then we'd have fun afterwards. And it was like every Saturday, rain or shine. I mean, rain. Yeah, did I say that? Yeah, rain or shine. Because even it was always warm there. So even if it rained, it was still decent weather.
It's still nice out to still go do some stuff out there. Yeah.
Yep. It might be humid as heck afterwards, but hey, it was still we still did the training, and we had fun. And when like we talked about, the community aspect of martial arts and training with good buddies, and you forget about everything. Just like every other hobby, you get together with people, and you get to forget about life and other stuff. And that was kind of the downside. I moved my family out here. There's so many positives, but finding people to kind of train with was just different. And once you're kind of we've kind of learned our ways. We understand what kind of systems we want to train in, what kind of schools we want to. And I'm not against going or restarting as a white belt. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you kind of figure, do I got the time to do that? Where does this fit within my schedule? And now that I got kids, we put our youngest in rugby. That was a blast. I wish I had rugby growing up, just because this is one of the coolest things too. Because the kids in rugby were all different sizes and shapes, right? And the gist of rugby is, right, when you're on the offense, you got the ball, your formation is kind of like an arrowhead, right? And so everybody has the chance to run the ball, and when they start them out young, they teach them to run into certain formation, so that they're always there to be ready to get the ball, right? And they just pass down the line when they're like 3 or 4 years old, and they're starting out, so they're always passing the ball, but they stay in a certain formation, and no matter what your size, you could be like a heavyset kid, as long as you kept up and with the team, you got a chance to run that ball. Versus like football, right? It's like, you're a big kid, we'll put you on the defensive line.
Yeah, you never touching the ball.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the fun thing. I might be getting off track, but it was also the fitness aspect where some of the big kids enjoyed playing rugby a little bit more because they got to touch the ball, they got to run, and boy, did they run.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
were so excited, and they would haul, and
Oh man.
it was just fun.
Do
But
you do you think you know why, or do you have an idea why rugby didn't pick up over here in the States? Because you would think it would though. It'd be
yeah,
popular as football or something, you know?
maybe that's where it gets into, I'm not gonna say a tin hat thing, but it's a
Yeah.
foreign sport. NFL, all the money
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
reasons behind things. I wouldn't say a tin foil thing, but there's
Yeah.
reasons, right? If
There's
the
got to be a
NFL was,
reason for it.
all these little programs. I think when it comes down to money, and there's all these like ladders, right? Oh, get them
Yeah.
into the like different. Like when I grew up in Illinois, there was I think they were called the Black Knights, right? Like a
Okay.
youth program,
Okay.
and then those kids would play till like high school, right? And then when you got into high school football, what I mean, there's like this whole
Yeah.
ladder, and if you're good enough,
Yeah.
you go up, and there's and then there's money, right? Everybody wants their kid to be in a certain sport and make money.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
and rugby is really there's not much equipment needed. I think there's
And
a saying. I think it was based off a band, but it makes so much sense, right? It was like no helmet, no pads, just balls. And right?
and that is true. Rugby
It's
is
kind of crude, but it's
ruthless.
true, man. All you need
Yeah.
is just pass the ball, put on the shoes, and run.
Yeah.
And the
And
girls
rugby
had
doesn't
fun.
have, and the girls had fun. I see the girls playing too.
Yeah.
Wow. These girls run like machines, but rugby does not have like periods or anything. It's just from beginning in and keep moving, right?
Yeah, basically that's the gist of it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't get too deep in it because it was just fun, right? I
Yeah.
find it more like I said, I grew up and my dad would watch football, but he didn't necessarily explain. I'm not blaming anything on him.
Yeah.
So we watch football. It's like, okay, cool. That's fun. And it what I'm trying to get is that all the stopping, nobody explained or the strategy to me. I played
Yeah.
football in high school, and that's cool. It was kind of fun, but
Yeah.
I like the idea of just keep moving, just
Yeah.
keep running,
Rugby.
keep going, just moving,
Yeah.
and or maybe that just says I lack strategy, or I don't know, because there's different reasons.
It's
But
different reasons.
yeah,
Like
but it's
strategy.
just
There you
it
go.
was just fun. I wish I had it growing up because
Yeah.
it would have been fun.
Yeah. Well, I guess in
So
the neighborhood, there's neighborhood kids. We had a game. I won't use the curse word, but it's called mess up, and it was like
yeah,
rugby. You
I
had
think
a
that
team
goes
of
by
guys.
different names. Because that's the
Yeah,
one where
different
whoever
names.
has the ball, you tackle them.
That's it. That's exactly right, man. That's
There's so many
exactly
different
right.
names. I think the one where we both know is like super
Yeah.
incorrect.
Very correct. Steer the what?
Yeah, yeah,
Smear
yep,
the
exactly. Yep.
yeah.
And we just had fun. We just
Just
had
have
fun. And
fun.
part of the fun was getting the ball and seeing how
Yeah.
long you could last. Like, yeah,
You
you
can
shake
last on
people
your
off.
feet,
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
I don't think we play that game nowadays. Well,
No.
rugby, but other than that, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't have as much time. I'm trying to get back to it. And
Yeah.
I try to I don't have the same group. And that's going to go into another conversation. So what I really enjoy is just teaching my kids, which just basic boxing, some sticks. I don't try to go
Okay,
into
yeah.
depth. Man, I definitely want to get into grappling, but that stuff's kind of expensive. So that's why I'm trying to do all these
Yeah.
other side gigs because training's. It's either try to find somebody willing to teach, and I like, hey, I'll trade you some FMA, some stick and stuff, and we'll
Yeah.
train stuff if you want to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to find.
Very hard nowadays. Everybody's a
Yeah.
business, and I understand that. I don't
Yeah.
mind me making money, but I think we should be able to barter some things too.
Yeah, or just find a group of guys who are willing to, just
Yeah.
share knowledge and let's get together and train. Today let's do some stand up. Okay, let's do
Yeah.
some grappling. Well, how do we
Yep.
put these together? Let's do a little bit of sparring and keep our
Exactly.
egos in check because we're all kind of old. But
Yeah.
let's help us learn how to defend our each other and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I think it'd be cool if people do that, man. That's great, man. Now, you said you're doing so you used to do kettlebells. I love kettlebells.
Yeah, I got
That's
some.
probably the best thing I love working out with. Haven't worked out in about a week though. Well, a little over a week with kettlebells. I need to.
Yeah, kettlebell. I like it all. I like
Yeah.
I like the bench. I like the kettlebells, the Indian clubs. It's all a lot of
Oh,
fun.
those
It's
things
all
are
the
crazy,
movement,
man. Oh yeah.
and then there's the landmines. That's just basically using I don't know how old or when it was developed, but that's basically using the barbell, but using
Yeah.
putting the weight on one end. Just using one end of it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And putting the other end on the hands. There's so many different things that we can do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it
I
helps with
love it all.
movements, though. Kettlebells really help with your movement and functional strength. That's what it helps with. Big time.
I got, there's one guy I trained with in Hawaii. I wouldn't say he's jacked or anything, but he was strong.
Yeah.
Like farmer boy strong, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that's what I'm missing. I'm missing that old man strength. I don't have it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you do. I mean, it's people get surprised. Yeah, yeah. But there's so many reasons. One of my favorite. Have you seen that one? I don't know if it was a commercial. I seen it on the internet. I don't know if it actually aired, but if you're on Twitter or Instagram,
yeah, I'm on Instagram quite a bit.
It's that one where you see this old guy, right? He goes out to the barn like almost every day, and he's picking up this kettlebell.
Oh,
and
yeah,
everybody's
kind of
looking at her. Yeah,
yeah.
Like, that's my. Oh man, whenever I see that, that's when like I always repost or retweet and hashtag old man still can. He was.
I love that.
And it's and I also use the hashtag train for life.
Train for life. That's good, man. I mean? I like that. Yeah,
because it's I'm not just training for life to be fit for your life movements, right? He was training. The whole thing was so he could pick up his granddaughter and
put the star on the tree.
Yep. Yeah.
I love that. That's very emotional too when I see it. I'm like, I just love that, man.
Because that just emphasizes like that's why you got to keep moving.
Yeah. If someone doesn't get moving, as you know, at our age, if I know like right now, because I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now, and I do like 3 or 4 days a week. And I'm telling you, every day I get out of bed and it really hurts. But once I start doing my basic stretching and start moving, by the time I'm ready to go, I feel great.
Yeah.
Because you're not letting those muscles and joints just settle.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny because up until 50, I don't think I really felt like I was slowing down. Yeah. Even when I, like the past few years when I didn't move as much because I was working from home and, I just enjoyed my work and getting stuff done and securing the network because there's a lot of stuff that was just happening. So it's just trying to stay on top of stuff. I enjoyed doing that stuff. But once I was, when I was hitting 40, I'm like, what's the big deal about age? I don't, I didn't get it. I don't feel old. I don't.
Yeah.
I realized
that
I wasn't.
Wall.
Yeah. Well, 50. That's where it's like, oh, when you wake up, it's like, damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
Where'd that truck come from?
Yeah. It's like, okay, now I'm slowing down. I feel it now. Okay.
Oh yeah. And it's funny because where I train is everybody's younger than me. I'm the oldest guy on the mat, hence old man on the mat, and
that's a dope logo. I love that logo.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. But everybody's younger than me. And then I get on the mat with these young guys, and it's like every round I feel like I'm fighting for my life. It's not a fun role.
Yeah, like Jiu-jitsu is a different. It's just interesting. You're not used to that heavy weight on you, and people panic.
Yeah, just keep moving, and like you said, but you do have. I like what you're saying. You got to keep moving, and that's one of the biggest things that my buddies were telling me when I first started. You got to keep moving, man, because if you settle down there at the bottom, it's gonna suck for life. But they weren't wrong. So
once you get stuck, you get stuck.
You get stuck, man. So you just keep moving. As long as I keep moving, I'm okay. It's an ego thing too. You're going with all these young guys, and I can't be the old guy sweating and passing out in the corner. I got to act like I don't like it doesn't faze me. Until I get in my car, then I just lean the seats back and cry.
Sleep in the car.
Yeah. Did they see me? No one saw me.
That's funny. Some of the old guys, they teased me so hard when when I started training. I had a girlfriend at the time. She would go, and they would tease me about my first time sparring, and they would just ride me hard. Don't touch me. Is that what you said? You know what I mean? It's like, you got, you got a bruise and stuff. Don't touch me there.
Yeah, right.
Hilarious. But that's the great thing funny. Too. Maybe you didn't have older brothers. I mean, I had older brothers, but they were much older. But you go to martial arts and you develop your, like your kung fu brothers. Like they like to say, you develop your martial arts brothers. The people who are looking out. If you have a
Yeah.
good personality, right? I mean, that's another thing too,
Well,
right? You
yeah.
train.
That's if you got a great personality, great attitude, you can make friends with everyone,
Hmm.
and that's what I say. You got your buddies, and we're talking about a buddy of mine, and we're talking about, there's a girl who I was talking to, is a female friend of mine, and we're talking about this, and because she heard the conversations me and my friends were having with each other, and she was like, "You guys talk to each other like you don't like each other."
Oh man, that was me and my other friend.
Yeah, it's like, no, but that's what guys do. We razz each other all day long, and that means you care, and you
Uh-huh.
care about your friends. So you're gonna give them a hard time. You're not gonna sit there and hold hands and talk about twinkle toe stuff. What is wrong with you?
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's part of the initiation.
It is, man. But it's what we do. That's how guys shows that emotion to each other. We punch each other in the arm. We tease each other. We
Mhm.
make each other think we hate them.
You choke them out.
You choke them out. Love you, brother. Wake
Yeah.
up.
Next time.
Next time, man. But that's good about martial arts. If you sparring with your buddies, like you guys are sparring, and then after the class, you guys are having a beer together, hanging out,
Mhm.
talking, but on the match, you're trying to kill each other.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
great,
Well,
man.
and see, right, and you learn, you control your aggression. You're trying
Yeah.
hard, but you're not necessarily using anger or
Exactly.
anything.
Exactly. Anger
So-
gets you killed.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
lose your focus, you lose all that. I learned that years ago in martial arts, and I think it was a great lesson to learn.
Yeah, and
Now,
that's
what-
kind of what I learned through the Dog Brothers. Is like, you
Yeah.
know, have you ever seen in the videos? Right, so they're the guys
No.
who like did the full contact stick fighting, right? Because early in the earlier days, people would fear like, oh man, you can't, this art's so deadly. You can't be beating people with sticks and stuff like that, and you're gonna die. And so these guys just went out and tested it. They put on some fencing masks and literally beat the
Wow.
crap at each other. And
I'm gonna go look
they,
those up. Holy cow!
oh yeah, they were yeah.
That's the DogZilla brothers.
Dog Brothers.
Dog
Mike
Brothers.
was a
Gatherings,
I guess
right?
yeah, the
Gathering,
Gatherings,
yeah.
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 And Mark Denny and Eric Naus. There's so much deep history, and that's kind of part of the reason. I was in my 30s by the time I was there, and I was thinking, I was about to have. Yeah, that's right. So my first gathering, it's like 2008, and my girlfriend, who is now my wife, she was pregnant. With our first kid. And you just start thinking, it's like, everybody talks about being a dog brother and all this other stuff, and I was just looking at it as a chance to like, okay, well, it was a way to test myself. I'm not really, again, like I said, one of my goals is to get back into shape because there's certain reasons I need to get back and get my full dog brother name.
Yeah.
As a tribute and testament to my buddy, right? That passed
that's
away.
awesome. That's
Because
awesome, man.
because he went and got his full dog brother. He attended the gatherings, fought enough, and earned his name. And so I had different long story whatever what happened, I didn't go as many gatherings he did, and blah blah blah. So I feel like I have to pay tribute to him because we started
That's a cool
out on
way
that
to
journey.
honor him, man. That's cool.
And so anyway, yeah. So I mean that the whole thing, actually, I was kind of okay with not getting my full, because it was just all about going there to test myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking for any kind of status. I'm still not. It's all about pay tribute to DogZilla. Thank you for his teaching. Show him that I can continue this journey, and also pay tribute to my friend who passed away because that was just
That's awesome.
because we always talked about, and it's part of the old man still can thing, right? We always talked about we wanted to do something. We were going to create some. He was heavily into judo and BJJ because that's just the way it is in Hawaii. A lot of people, it's an island just like other places or with not much to do, right?
Right.
There's not, you're either fighting or you're fornicating or you're working or you're doing all three, whatever keeps you out of trouble. You know what I mean? Basically. And so grappling is huge and MMA was huge in Hawaii at one time. But long story short is that he was a machine. He inspired. We both inspired each other, and we talked about trying to be the better man for our sons, and that's that's the whole thing of trying to. So going back to the old man, we came up that phrase. You'll find it used by other people, but I just started using the heck out of it. I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I did see some hashtags. I did come across accounts, but I'm like, whatever. They didn't post much, so I'm just going to start using it as much. And then I'm not necessarily worried about copyright or anything. But we do have. I have shirt designs. 2025 last year. He passed away at November 23.
Yeah.
And like last year is like I was just kind of lost, like, man, because every day we would talk. They're like, "Hey, bro, what'd you do to work out?" and
Yeah.
stuff, and and I didn't have friends like that here, so it's like I just felt kind of lost. And
Yeah.
finally,
Wow.
at the end of the year, just kind of started getting my head back together, and you know,
Yeah.
that's a long
That
story
takes a
short.
toll on
That's
you.
the goal, right? Because we talked about doing BJJ patches and other stuff, and we were going to do something for him to put on his gi because he was getting ready to compete, and
Yeah.
he was going to get he was preparing. You ever heard of that? Hopefully I pronounce it right. Kyudo, Kyudo.
Oh, Kyukido. Kyukido.
Kyudo? Is that's
Yeah.
the ones where they wear a clear mask, but they go out and beat the crap out of each other. You know what I mean? It's hard
Yeah.
sparring, but they
I
wear
think that
that
is.
like clear helmet looking thing. But they
Oh,
go out.
You mean Kendo or something like that? Or
It's
no,
like
it's something different.
Kyudo, Kyudo.
Kyudo?
I
Oh, I
think so.
never heard of
Yeah.
that one.
He was training to
I
prepare
mean,
for
I'm sure
that
I heard of it.
because
Yeah.
he just turned 50 and he was always challenging himself, right? And that's the whole
Right.
thing about Old Man Still Can. Keep challenging yourself. It doesn't have to be like climb Mount Everest. Just do something. Keep
Yeah.
moving.
Yeah. That's cool.
Learn an instrument, and so long story short, I'm trying to carry that on. Going back to our conversation of interesting times.
Yeah.
I kind of got involved in crypto a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to tell people. I know there's smarter things. There's Bitcoin and all those other chains, and then there's meme coins.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're in interesting times. Getting almost ready to retire, maybe in about 10 years. I don't pay attention to a lot of politics. I'm just thinking like there's things to invest in. There's the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
401k, we could be investing in these other things as well. And we could also be aware.
Absolutely.
Maybe you don't want to invest, but maybe you want to be aware of what's happening. Right?
Absolutely.
Because the current
Exactly.
presidency is pro crypto. So things
Yeah.
could be changing. Things are happening. And,
It's happening.
even if you don't like it, just look around the world.
Yeah.
El Salvador and other countries are buying Bitcoin.
Yes.
And they're
Yep.
buying a lot.
They're
So
buying
I'm not
a
going to
lot
tell
of
you to
it.
go invest in it, but let's look
That's right.
around at what could happen.
Exactly. And
So
you don't have to put. There's one thing I like about those two, the crypto, is you don't have to put a ton of money in to start playing with it.
yeah,
You can
Mhm.
just go as you know and just learn as you go, man.
yeah, and there's certain terms that carry across too. I didn't, because they was it dollar cost average. I thought that was just a
Mm-hmm.
crypto thing, but that people do that with stocks. Remember Share Builder?
Yes.
You
Yes.
could,
Yep.
that's the same thing, and you can kind of do that with crypto too. So
Yeah.
there's a whole, there's
It's a whole
there's a lot of
thing.
interesting people on crypto, and it's not just the young guys. I came across this one account called, I think it's called Geezers in Crypto, and these guys were
Users.
around.
That's awesome.
Yeah, fine, they're cool, and
I'm gonna look him up there because I'm all on the crypto websites and
he's
Instagram pages.
on Twitter, yeah, and they have spaces like every morning, and they're not trying to shill anything. They're just
Yeah.
sharing their experience and
Okay.
stuff. Like this is one guy. He talks about how he's taking care of his mom. I think he must be 60 or 70s, and his mom was alive during the Dust Bowl and stuff. So
Oh wow.
just these interesting stories and their perspective of where they, you know what I mean, of where they
Yeah.
came
So they've
from,
seen
why
things
they're
change.
checking this out.
Yeah. I
And
would
I
love
think
to
he was
listen
a
to that.
conscientious objector, and he
Yeah.
talked a little bit on the space. So he opposed the war, but he
Yeah.
did something. I don't know. It was an interesting story. I know everybody has their thoughts about it, but he
Yeah.
has an interesting story. What got him involved and why, and the stuff he went through, just being a conscientious objector.
Yeah.
There's just so many cool stories. Whether you disagree or not, it's worth listening to.
It's
different
worth
people.
listening to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Broaden your mind a little bit. Take another perspective in.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, it's just man. So that's just part of the Old Man Still Can thing. So I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to see if I can bridge things.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause, Facebook. A lot of people dig Facebook. I'm not. It is what it is. But
Yeah.
Twitter's
is
kind of
there. It's
interesting
another-
too because it's. I think it's easier to connect with random people or find random people versus Facebook, where you have to have a friend and stuff.
Or something like
I'm
that.
not
Yeah.
gonna.
You go to these different
Yeah,
pages, but I want to get more. I want to learn more about X. I want to learn more about Twitter. How to get on. I'm on there, but I
Yeah.
don't. I post on there, but I don't know how to connect on there. I guess if I took the time to do it, I would learn it. But I spend most of the time on
that's like,
Instagram and
bro,
all
that's
that
why I
stuff.
retweeted your thing and say, oh yeah, I'm getting ready to this. Then I saw
Awesome.
that you post a little bit more. So Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm working on things. Maybe we can collaborate on things, get your name out there because
that'd be
I'm
awesome,
all
man.
just
Let's
about
do it, man.
building. And
Let's do it, man. Something we got great names. I love it. Old Man Still Can
yeah,
and Old Man on the Mat. That's awesome. I
yeah,
love that, man. I
yeah,
love
and
that.
I
But
think
yeah,
it would be a blast because I'm working on a theme of like we talked about, am I too old? And
yeah.
part of it's going to be about martial arts, and part of it might be look what you're doing. You're doing martial arts, and you've started this streaming. You got your.
Yeah.
I looked you. I followed you. I think I followed you everywhere. I followed you on Instagram. I found you on.
Awesome,
I
man.
went
Good
to your
stuff,
main
man.
page, followed you on YouTube. I
Yeah,
followed
good
you.
stuff,
I
man.
just looked up your links and to make sure I follow you, and that's part
I
of the.
appreciate it.
It goes back to this whole thing about the technology and what we can do.
Yeah, the
Um,
community. We can build a
to,
huge
to
community together, man.
and
That's for sure.
earn money a different way. I don't. There's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I'm
It's
for
so
it, man.
weird. People make fun of people streaming, but man, some of those people are. There's always a dark side and a good side, but some
Oh
people
yeah,
are
to
just having a
everything.
blast.
And they're making
And
a killer money, having fun doing it.
yeah,
Oh,
and
jeez
they're connecting
Louise,
with
man.
people and doing just
Yeah.
good stuff and
That's my
showing.
biggest thing. I love connecting with people like yourself. I get to talk to you guys, get to learn because I love learning things about people because you never know their story. And once you hear their story, it puts a different light on it. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It just makes you see them differently. The stuff you're talking about here, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Another guy out there thinking this way.
Yeah, yeah, and it's one thing. Just the past week, because Twitter has their own thing called like Spaces. It's I don't know how to. It's not streaming. Uh, it's just I liken it like a radio show. You got your two hosts, and you
Yeah.
got a co-host, and then people can come up on the stage and talk. And
Oh,
like
okay.
the past 2 weeks, I've been in a couple spaces and met some older people. I mean, and they had their reason for being in the space, and the lady was basically,
Yeah.
sometimes I want to be with people, and I live with my kids. I'm retired,
Yeah.
and sometimes I want to go. I don't want to be around people, but I want to be on spaces. But
Right.
she came to spaces to talk and
That's
stuff,
cool, man.
and
I
it's
gotta
like,
check that out, man. You gotta shoot me that so I can look at some of that stuff, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, now that we've connected, yeah, you can feel free to hit me up anytime, and
Absolutely. We'll get together and do something. We'll collab on some stuff, man. I'm
yeah,
serious, man. I like that, man.
yeah, I think it
Uh,
would be dope.
it will be,
I'm
man.
trying to bridge that gap because just talk a little bit about crypto, but not necessarily. Like I said, I don't want to shill people, but I'm just more like pay attention to what's going on. Check this
Yeah.
out.
Eyes open.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe this
Yes.
isn't something you're into, but look into it. It might be something for your grandkids.
Yeah.
Who knows what direction this is going to take.
Well, these youth now, the grandkids probably know more about it than they do now.
Yeah,
Kids are
yeah, they're
sharp, man, with
picking
this
up. Yep,
technology.
yeah, they're picking up really quick.
Absolutely,
But
man.
there's always different people to connect to. Not everybody wants to be on
Yeah.
Facebook. Not everybody wants to be on
Yeah.
Instagram.
That's true.
And Twitter's, like I said, I just ran into those two old ladies that
That's
were
cool.
like I said, that said they were retired, but that, they like to be around their kids, but sometimes they don't. But they still want to talk to people, so they jump on spaces. And this one old lady had more NFTs than I did. I'm like, wow,
Wow. See, that's
that's
what I had to
cool.
learn about some of that stuff, man. So yeah, we need to talk after this, man. We'll set up a time we can talk after this, man, and try to talk about some things, and we can get a nice little community going, man. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Everybody has their downside. I just think it's cool. There's cool art and
Yeah.
just cool things, and
Yeah.
it's such an interesting world.
It really is, man. It really is, brother. Well, hey, before I get you out of here, brother, I appreciate you more than you know. Man, you taught me some things tonight.
Oh, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, that
No,
was
but I
like
appreciate you,
a
man.
nice surprise. I appreciate you as well, man. That
Well,
was awesome.
before we get you out of here, man, why don't you tell everyone how they can find you? All on your social media, your addresses, everything where they can find you, man.
Oh, so I'm trying to, everything's a little bit different, but basically on Instagram, I'll be old man still can, except there's periods, right? There's
Yeah.
old period or old dot man dot still dot can, right? Because like I said, there was others out there kind of using it,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
like, I had to figure out a way, and then on
Exactly.
Twitter, I think you can find me. There's your Twitter handle, which
Okay.
is like your username. But then you also got, how instead of your first name, I'm probably mixing people up. So on Twitter, if you look up, trying to figure out the best way to explain it. Basically, the @ sign, and then
Hmm.
the just think about the initials OMSC_W3 for Web3. So,
Okay.
because that's right, that's the new frontier, what everybody's talking about, the
Yeah.
decentralized. Oh man, we haven't touched about DePIN. Yeah, just wait till we talk about that. That's
Oh,
fascinating
man.
too.
Okay. I'm excited, man.
So yeah, and then the email, also my email on Gmail. It's funny how those
Okay.
things rhyme.
Yeah.
So it'd be like old man still can, but PNW like Pacific Northwest. So old man still can PNW at Gmail.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, or if that's the whole thing. I've been out there blasting. So hopefully, well, at least on Twitter, you just type in old man still can, and you should be able to find me. And I
Yeah.
got a certain logo and stuff.
Oh, I love your logo, man. It's the same one you have on Instagram, right?
I have to check. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was
I
the
love
part.
that.
See, that's where we were working on art with my friend, and then all of a sudden, like, he passed away. It was like, like pulling the rug. He's like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and we'll get ready, and we'll start wearing sweatshirts, and then he passed away, and it's like, man,
wow. Well,
yeah.
God had a better plan for him. That's all I can say.
Yeah, no,
God,
I think
God
about him
needed
every
him
day,
there.
and
Yeah, brother.
Still talk to him, just like I do to my parents. Right? It's just conversation.
Yeah, that's what you do, man.
Yep.
Still do with my dad. Still do have the same conversations, man, with my dad. And he hasn't answered me yet, but I know he will.
Yep. Or they come to us in different ways.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Brother, you're awesome, man. I appreciate you more than you know, man. We do have to do this again, man. I enjoyed every bit of it. I hope you guys got a lot from the man himself, the man, the myth, the living legend, Mr. Rob Koenig, right? Did I say it right?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
I got
Tony.
it.
Thank you.
I got it. I think I'm German now. All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. We'll talk soon. You take care.
All right, man. You too. Thank you.
All right, take care, brother.
All right. Bye.
Oh, man.